Welcome to the Red Half of Sheffield preview pod. As always, I'm back again. This time, I am with Adam from the 1865 Nottingham Forest podcast. Adam, how are you today? We are going to be obviously previewing our Friday night football under the floodlights at the City Ground against Nottingham Forest. Adam, how are you?
I'm good, yeah. It's good. Would have been a bit better if we nicked a point against Arsenal, but, it's an encouraging performance nevertheless.
Yeah, I mean, you lead right into my first question. Thoughts on your match yesterday against Arsenal?
Yeah, look, I mean, first off, I think we struggled. But I say we struggled. I mean, Arsenal had a lot of the ball. We couldn't really get into the game, but the goals we conceded were there's not much we could do. I mean, the first goal was obviously a bit of fortune that Nketiah's shot got deflected past Turner in goal. And then the second goal was just fantastic by Saka. Not a lot that we could do about that. We should really have closed the shot down. But, I mean, you've got one of the best wingers in world football. It's going to be tough. But, no, second half we came out and we did really well. The goal we scored was brilliant. Fantastic counter-attack. And then after we got the goal, we had chances to maybe nick an equaliser. So we're talking about a team that are going to be challenging for the Premier League this year, and for us to run them so close at the end, it was a good performance overall.
Yeah, looking back, and I did watch the highlights. Obviously, you were the lunchtime kickoff yesterday. Yeah, it was closer than the stats say it was because, as you mentioned, Arsenal did dominate possession, but it's crazy that you guys almost came away with a point yesterday to start the season. Certainly more encouraging than what we saw yesterday against Crystal Palace on the Blades side. But it is only one game, and I did say this to a lot of people yesterday. The teams that start the beginning of August to where they are at the end of August, because there's going to be players coming in, players going, chopping and changing. So it is the first game. There's 37 more of these things to go. We've got May is a long time away from where we stand right now. Go on.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I think that if you look at us last season, when we started the season, we went away to Newcastle and we were absolutely terrible. And there was players in that starting 11 that were nowhere near Premier League quality, and when we got a lot of stick for signing so many players, but when we started to gel the players and then we added a few key players in January, we looked like a different team. So I really wouldn't even look at the table until sort of Christmas time anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's not really important for the first couple of games anyway.
Yeah, 100%. You're 100% right on that. So you did kind of lead into my next question. The summer, how's it been transfer-wise for Forest? Not too much movement. I mean, it's kind of been certainly slower than last year's buying frenzy that you guys went through last summer. Sum it up for us.
I think we don't need a lot. I think coming into summer, we didn't need too much. You look at how we ended last season. We ended last season really strongly, and a lot of the players started to gel and started to really connect. And it looked like we were grinding out results really well. So I think we all looked at it and probably thought we might need 5 or 6 to come in. But we've let 5 or 6 go and brought 3 in at the moment. Now, Steve Cooper in his post-match interview yesterday said that he wants a couple more in. He says that before the end of August, he'd like to see a few more join. I think we really desperately need a bit more depth in the centre-half position. If we're playing this 3-back formation like we did yesterday, Niakate and Felipe were both injured. Niakate was luckily on the bench, but we can't really start games with Bolly, McKenna and Worrell as a back 3. It's not. They're all decent squad players in the Premier League, but they shouldn't be starting Premier League games every single game anyway. I would much rather see it be Worrell, Felipe, Niakate. That would make me feel a bit better, but we were obviously linked with Roger Ibanez, who's gone to Saudi Arabia. Again, that's the sort of type of profile, a really good centre half that helped Roma last year to European finals. So, we've got to look at that and think that that's the sort of market we're shopping in now. We'd rather spend 20, 30 million pound on a player, unsigned 2 players, rather than spending 20 or 30 million pound on 5 or 6 players,
Yeah.
But that's the second season in the Premier League. That's what it is. First season back in the Premier League, you just want bodies through the door that you think can do a job. And that's obviously what we did last year.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly wish and certainly hope we were able to maintain, monetary wise. That's the only benefit United basically get from this. I'd much rather be playing in the second division than the Prem. But I mean, you look at it anyway, it is what it is. I mean, money controls everything nowadays. So, I mean, it benefits us most if we stay in this top flight because such the big payday that we get.
Yeah, look, I mean, the Championship is a fantastic league, and it is the most competitive league in the world. And I've had a season ticket at Forest since we were in League One, so I've seen a lot of the ups and downs, a lot of the trials and tribulations that the Championship brings. And the season we went up was just absolutely magical. Like when you stood at I know that the playoffs are, they're tough, and people watch the playoffs and stuff. You don't want to be a part of them, but winning the playoffs is it's a different level of feeling. And getting promoted was incredible. And the Premier League last season was great. Like the home games against like Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea. I've just named those 4 teams, and none of them beat us at the City Ground. So I think being back in the Premier League, what I will say is that those home games against the big clubs, you've got to be the 12th man. You've got to drag your team over the line, and we did that a lot last season. And it's really the only reason we stayed up was because of our home form.
Yeah.
I was surprised yesterday when I saw the Sheffield United result personally, because I don't think Crystal Palace will be great this year. Under Hodgson as well, I really don't think that they're going to be I think they're looking at probably 14th, 13th, at best.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine that was quite disappointing for you guys, first home game.
Yeah, it was certainly to drop points, as you said, at home. I'd like to think that our team that got promoted last year, obviously, if we didn't lose the 2 key pieces before the start of the season, we probably would have beat them yesterday, at least nicked a draw off of them. But I mean, it is what it is. You change, you lose players come and players go. I mean, we're never going to hold on. We were never going to hold on to those players for their whole entire careers. They were all going to leave. If they didn't leave this summer, they were going to leave next summer. I mean, it is what it is. The whole thing is people overreacted, and then the internet's the worst place for people, because then people start turning on people and then start arguing. And you're not a fan. Blah 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 blah. We should have did better to keep them. We made a profit off of these players. Yes, it might not have been what everybody thought it was off of those 2 players, but still, we got enough money where we can bring in Gustavo Hamer. We're in talks with Chuba Akpom, Cameron Archer, even Lewis O'Brien was rumored to come from Forest to United. So I mean, there's a whole handful of players that we're going to spend that money right on good players, and hopefully either are able to sustain the club, or if we go down, we'll have an even better chance of being a yo-yo club. And I preface this with saying the Norwich model, but I mean, it seemed to work for them for the better part of 5 to 7 years when they were going between the divisions. I mean, it is what it is.
I think for Sheffield United this season, the focus has just got to be on playing the right brand of football, playing the way you want to play, but focusing on just staying in the division. And it is possible. I think that Luton are possibly it might sound harsh, but possibly one of the worst teams to ever win the playoffs. I really don't think that they've got any chance of staying in the division. Then you've got Everton that will be down there again. Wolves, after leaving Lopetegui, I mean, that's massive for them. They're going to be down there again. And then you've got Burnley. I know they came up impressively, but the Premier League is a different animal, and they're going to struggle this season. You've got Fulham that will be down there with no Mitrovic. There's a lot of opportunity for any team to stay up this season. There really is. And I think Gustavo Hamer's a fantastic signing. I would have
Yeah.
absolutely loved Forest to go for him. I don't think that we probably need him in our current midfield trio.
Mhm.
With obviously Yates, Danilo, and Mangala is just. I honestly back that midfield three is, mid-table, top half midfield. I think it's just fantastic. Like,
Mhm.
so I don't think Hamer would have got into our side, but I think he's a really good player.
Yeah.
But replacing Ndai is probably the next one for you guys, and then that's the next step.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, those are some awful big shoes that whoever tries to step in that role is going to have to try and fill. Before I ask you who the ones to watch for Forest are, what's what's your thoughts on a former Blade, Morgan Gibbs-White? I called him the law firm when he played for United because his name sounds like a law firm agency. So that's where and it I actually stuck. I don't know if anybody ever got to him and told him, "Hey, your nickname's the law firm." I came up with it when we got him on loan. That would have been our first season back in the championship. How has he performed at Forest? I know he had a hard time making a go of it, and he improved last season. But fill the viewers in.
I think if you went down to the Forest Club shop and said which name do you print on shirts the most, it would be Gibbs-White 10
Really?
by a country mile. Like he is one. I mean, obviously, I've been following Forest, I say, since League One. He's the most talented player I've seen play for Forest comfortably. I think he's absolutely outstanding. He won't be with us for long, really. I think if he has an amazing season. I mean, last season he got about 9, 10 assists last season with like 5 goals, something like that. Which for a team that finished 15th, 16th, down there last season, that's a good return. And his age, obviously, he's got so much room to grow, and like I would absolutely love Forest to hold on to him for as long as possible because he is destined for that sort of top 6 move in the next sort of season or two. And I would hope that if he has a good season this season, then he'll be on that plane to Germany next year for the Euros with England. I think he is of that level. I think he's in the conversation of like the Ezes of the world. I think he is at that level. I think he probably goes a bit under the radar, and clubs probably don't talk about him the same way that they do someone like Eze. But I really think that Gibbs-White is definitely at that level. And when we paid all that money for him, people were laughing at us, and I thought like he'll prove them wrong. And you wouldn't get Gibbs-White from Forest for 45 million now. It would take a lot more than that.
And that is insane because you guys piggybacked off the season he had with us in the championship. And when I saw he went, what did he go for? 50? Did you guys buy him for 50?
It was like 28 million
28. Okay.
to start, but then it can rise to 42. But one of the
Worth every penny.
Yeah, of course. And one of the big financial things was us staying in the league. I think they got like 10 million quid for us staying in the league. So like that was a big one. But I think the rest of there's one of the terms is like Forest getting European football. So I think we're pretty safe on that one not happening for a while.
Yeah, right. I mean, certainly did work out. And yeah, Morgan Gibbs-White, aka the law firm, is worth every damn penny in my humble opinion. So give us a few players to watch out for when Blades and Forest get together Friday night.
Yeah, so I mean, you guys all know about Gibbs-White, so I'll probably leave that one. But other than Morgan, probably obviously Taiwo Awoniyi, our top goal scorer from last season. He missed 3 months of the season and still scored 12 goals in the league. I mean, like I've not seen a centre half actually handle him. Like he's such a handful. He's big, he's strong, he's fast. He gets into that position, he'll score. You see his goal yesterday. He's absolutely bullied the Arsenal centre half, got in front of him and scored his goal. Like he's an absolute bulldozer. And it depends what team we play. There's a lot of Forest fans that are hoping we play Gibbs-White in behind, like a 4-2-3-1. So we play like Yates and Danilo holding, and then play Gibbs-White as the 10 with Johnson, Elanga, and Awoniyi up front. I think that Elanga, I mean, no offense to like Jack Robinson, for example, but I think Elanga would absolutely ruin him.
Oh yeah.
Elanga will send him. Yeah, it will send him back down to the Championship. Elanga's his pace and his skill. I mean, his assist yesterday for the goal was brilliant. So yeah, I think that Sheffield United, you really got to, I don't know, like I don't know how I would say you contain Elanga and Johnson out wide. They're both going to be tricky and fast. And if Awani does start next week, I think on Friday, I think that you can have a lot of problems with that.
Yeah. Sounds like our back line, obviously, and we all knew this coming into it. Back line's going to be under a lot of pressure, and it's up to United to obviously do more than they did against Palace yesterday and sustain a bit more of the ball and have a little bit more of possession. Okay, so your thoughts Friday night, full time. Give me goal scorers or predictions. If you want to throw in goal scorers, you can. What are your thoughts? What do you think happens Friday night?
I honestly can't see anything but a Forest win. We lost 3 or 4 games last season at home. We beat Liverpool, we drew against Man City, we beat Arsenal. Our home form last season was just absolutely outstanding. And for me, I don't think that Sheffield United have strengthened enough for a team coming up from the Championship. So I think we could. It's harsh to say. I think we could win 3-4-0. Genuinely, yeah. I think that we've got more than enough to handle Sheffield United on Friday, and we know that I don't think we'll be in a relegation battle this season, or I would hope we're not. And we know that's going to come off winning our home games. The first 6 games we've got Arsenal, which we had Man City, Man United, and Chelsea away, and we've got 2 home games against Sheffield United and Burnley. So we absolutely have got to win both of those games. So honestly, I can't see anything but a Forest win.
Yeah, I'm in 100% agreement. I do think that there will be a heavy rotation. There's a few players that are going to come out, few players that are going to be changed in, especially if there's any activity early this week leading into that game on Friday night. I also will go with Forest win. I think we lose this one 2-0. I just don't see us scoring. We don't keep enough of the possession. I don't see us anywhere near. I would probably say we're probably going to maybe go for the first 5 or 6 games without scoring because we play City after Forest. I don't see us scoring against them, obviously, either. Okay, so one more question. Well, I have 2 more. First, full-time whistle, last day of the season. What position do you have Forest finishing? Relegation battle or comfortably?
I would hope not. I think there's worse teams in the league than us, and I think probably 14th, 15th, so like a slight improvement from last year, but hopefully not in a relegation battle like we were last year. So I think like 14th, 15th. I mean, we've got the players and players like Awani, Gibbs-White, Johnson, Elanga. If they all kick on this season, I think we'll have no problem, finishing there.
Yeah. I think you guys will, I was looking at this, before the season started, and like, yeah, Forest will probably be a better side than they were last year. I don't know if we're going to get anything off of them in that first game. And based on yesterday, yeah, it looks like we won't. Okay, the last question. Match day, your favorite pre-match beverage before a Forest match?
So one of the pubs I go into has a flavour of beer, which is a key lime flavoured pale ale.
Really?
It is absolutely outstanding. Navigation Brewery in Nottingham. It's absolutely lovely. So I like to have a couple of them, and I will be on Friday before the game.
Cool deal. All right, Adam, give your social medias and where they can find you and where they can find the podcast if they want to listen to it.
Yeah, so for me personally, I don't have any like Twitter or anything like that. But for the podcast, it's the 1865 Nottingham Forest podcast. You can find us on Twitter, TikTok. Well, is it X now, isn't it, or whatever it is? But you know what I mean. So Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, TikTok, Spotify. If you're a player just wanting to get an opposition opinion, obviously give us a listen and that. And yeah, that'd be great.
For sure. We'll do. You guys already know watching this, you can find me cjarvis_13, although I'm not very active on it. Podcast at Red Sheffield on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it. The Red Half of Sheffield on YouTube. Find us on Facebook, the Red Half of Sheffield. And I think we're on Instagram at the Red Half of Sheffield until Friday night when Blades take on Forest at the City. Ground up the Blades.